Island of the Slaughtered, Part Victim 1, Hide and Zeke. Some campers were joyed with seeing each other, learning all about what the others had been up to. They enjoyed sharing stories with each other, and they enjoyed listening to one another. Some have changed. Some still relatively look and act the same. Jeff and Bridget had gotten married. Justin's modeling career had still been going. Courtney was still in law school and had almost finished. Trent was currently producing a new song. Lots had changed. Almost everyone had. Everyone but Ezekiel Miller, the homeschooled boy. The boy who had been arguably the most messed up by Chris throughout his entire time of his show. His way of thinking still hasn't changed, and most of the campers assume he still lived with his parents, which is why his thoughts had not changed too much. He said the occasional thing that would get him a bunch of stares, but quickly apologized when and if he did. Still everyone, although did not like him, expected him. They grew up. They knew it wasn't his fault, and they all knew he didn't deserve what he got a few years ago. Little did they know, he would be the first to get eliminated, just like the show. The first challenge was hide and seek, or as Ezekiel liked to say, hide and seek. One team of campers had time to hide, while the others tried to find the opposite team. The losing team resulting in a player being booted off the island. Courtney, Duncan, Katie, Sadie, Izzy, Lindsay, Ezekiel, Ava, Tyler, Jeff, and DJ, you will be hiding, and the rest of you will be seeking, Chris exclaimed with a smug look on his face. By now, they all could tell it was just Chris's resting face, as he always had an evil grin on his face. No matter how hurt or bad things got, unless his ratings were hurt, they all went to hide. By now, things had gotten awkward with a few campers. They had all gotten to know each other, how they were, what's happened to them in the last couple of years, etc. Courtney had gone behind near the cliff where the first challenge was Duncan followed her. He missed her and deeply regretted what he had done to her. Izzy had gone in the woods swinging from vine to vine. Katie and Sadie went near the docks. They had watched Whole Drama Island before this and found Lashana had done well underwater in a previous hide and seek. And while Jeff and DJ had gone to the cave where the first Guys Alliance had formed, it brought back memories that both boys appreciated a lot. Lindsay and Tyler both went to their separate ways. After all, they had broken up due to Lindsay forgetting his name in front of his parents. They had both still not let go of each other fully, but Lindsay had a new partner back home. Ezekiel was a very good hider, being able to hide until late at night. Everyone else was eventually found. Although nobody knew where Izzy or Ezekiel were, nobody knew how good Ezekiel was at this game. He may have been homeschooled, but that didn't stop him from having amazing hiding skills. However, his team had won. Ezekiel got up from under the cabin and went into the confessional. On his way, a mysterious figure lurked behind him, almost mimicking his moves perfectly, like a mirror. Then he turned around. "Who is that?" Ezekiel asked, confused. It was dark. He couldn't see, and soon he couldn't see it at all. He was dragged back to this hiding spot. He cried and screamed as he had seen the straw weapon being held above him. He was torn apart, cutting off his legs and arms first. He could feel all his limbs quickly detaching until he could no longer feel anything at all. Each limb was hidden in different parts of the island. It was clear they were not welcome. Chris had come across an arm. It was his arm, the homeschool boy. the boy had tormented on the show. The boy he could no longer torment. It was a sign. Chris and his crew immediately packed up and fled. They all watched as the only form of transport had just left. They had no idea what was going on, what was happening. Were they just left to die here? Nobody knew. They all decided to go to sleep. Hide and seek was tiring. They all looked for Ezekiel. He must be really good at hiding. He was still nowhere to be found until he was found. His head staring into Jeff's soul. He didn't deserve this. Guys, look! I think Chris left us here for a reason, Jeff said slowly. Everyone rushed to see what Jeff was talking about. He was right. Chris had left them all to die. And the first victim was Ezekiel Miller.